Okay, Dave. After a few days off with working with your players on the training ground, you're obviously now getting ready for a return to that league action, of course. What sort of shape are you in?
I think we've got one lad self-isolating, a few injuries. One lad won't be involved for other reasons. Apart from that, I think we're in good shape.
Of course, one or two bits of COVID were there before the break, but one player that was self-isolated was Chris Long. Have you got him back? Is he available training with you now?
Yeah, Long has been training for a while. So yeah, he's back. We've got one lad whose girlfriend's got it, so he's self-isolating for a few days. So disappointing, but that's the world we live in.
The one thing about Chris Long, if you have him back and you think he's ready to go, you'll hope he'll start from where he left off, because he just, after a very frustrating early season for him, he seems to be showing why you wanted him at the club. Yeah,
when he's been available, he's been very good. So obviously had his injury at the start, and then he's been isolating quite a lot. So when he's been fit and available, he's been good for us. Excuse me. So we hope that continues.
So an update on Scott Casket and Ben Knight. Obviously, Ben Knight was a long-term injury. Just up to date with him, you've kept him at the club, have you, to do rehabilitation with you?
No, he's back at Man City doing his rehabilitation. He can't actually, well, I say he's back at Man City, I believe he's back home in Cambridgeshire, because he can't drive for another few weeks, and he hasn't been driving since he did the injury, so there's not a lot he can do. And then he'll be back at Man City to do his rehab.
Scott Casket, is he any closer for you?
Obviously, his ankle's progressing. He's not been very well. Not COVID, but we've had more issues with a bug than that's been flying around than any COVID. So he's not far away at all.
Well, in those few days that you've been not playing in league action, but you've been training, you've signed and penned up a new contract for Billy Sass-Davis. Obviously, he's got himself more of a regular place in the team this particular season. What do you want from him now? What have you said to him?
I think the key thing for any defender is consistency, interspersed with real magical performances. He's been consistent up until probably the last game, which is a real good start. I have to say, a real good start for him. I haven't seen a magical performance yet. What's a magical performance? Well, a clean sheet, keeping a good striker quiet and probably scoring a goal as well, which is a lot to ask for a lad who's finding his feet in the first team. But that's where we've got to get to, and that's the next step for him. But we don't want to push him. We don't want to expect too much of him too soon. He's going along really well, and he deserves his new deal.
Obviously, he's been one of those that you've had to just be patient with, and you're out now. You're going to, reap the reward, because he's got everything in his makeup, hasn't he, to be that, that defender that you're looking for.
Yeah, he's 6'4". He's built like the side of a house. He's become more of a man after his loan spell in the National League, which has helped him no end. But he shouldn't be stopping just there. He's got to become a real powerhouse of a defender that is imposing both in stature and ability. Now, we all know he's got the ability, and he's certainly got the frame, and he's developing both of them at the minute. But we want him to keep going with that, so that when all these other players stand next to him in the tunnel and stand next to him at set pieces, that they look at him and it sort of goes cloudy and dark, because he's towering above them and blocking all the sunlight out around him. And then when he gets the ball and think, right, well, we'll see how good a footballer he is, he'll be able to pick a pass or makes the right decisions. And like I say, he's done ever so well. He's done ever so well, and we hope that continues.
Any more like that of your own in the pipeline with contracts?
Yeah, there's one or two bits going on. There's one or two bits agreed. You know, they'll come out in due course. That's been happening November, December. I've got a meeting with one lad's parents today. So that's a constant process that sort of evolves in the background, and that'll constantly keep working, if you like.
Just while we're talking a little bit about the defending situation, I bet it's been disappointing that you've had to just think over the last few days that you've conceded 8 goals in your last 2 games. Yeah,
I don't think that's necessarily fair on the players. Let's be honest, you know, the Rotherham game, you've got Smith and Grigg, and then Ladapo comes on with the ball for £500,000, and Ogbenny, who's just been playing for Ireland. It's not, you know, that's Rotherham for you. You know, and we made, you know, we're bringing on Joel Tabner at 18 to find his feet, and they're bringing on Ireland internationals and £500,000 players, and that in the end was the difference. It wasn't. I think 4 flattered them, you know, but then that's because they're used to winning, and we're not as much, and that was probably the outlook of both managers and both clubs in the end. They definitely wanted to win it, have to win it probably. We were more about developing our players and getting our players on the pitch to get that experience. So, you know, we can justify that. We can't justify the Burton one. Too many of our players had poor games, and if you have poor games against any team in this league, you'll get found out, and that's what happened. Is it some area that you've worked on now a little bit more? Yeah, I think we've got to work at both ends of the pitch. That's the truth. We've got to be more resilient and better going forward. And I think if we do that, then we've got more than a chance of being successful. Well, here we are getting towards the middle of January. Transfer window, as we all know, is a busy time for you. What's your situation? Can we have an update on, of course, everybody's talking about him, Owen Dale. What do you know? Well, what do I know? Owen's unavailable at the minute. We're going to give him as much help and support as he requires and needs. And as soon as he's available, we'll let you know. It's as simple as that. He now becomes your player back again, doesn't it? Doesn't look as though at the moment that deal with Blackpool is going to go through. I know you've got to be careful with how you choose your words, but are you disappointed that it's got like that when you consider what happened on the final day of the last transfer window, when it went through and you thought a deal had been struck? That's football. That's football. You know, like I say, I'm always disappointed, I'm sure. And we have to make sure he is capable of, getting back to the form that saw him get a championship club interested in him and buying him. It's as simple as that, and that's our job. It's my job. That's everyone at this football club's job. And once Owen's fit and available, we'll endeavour to do that with all our best interests and best endeavours. Yeah, just to wrap it all up, the ideal solution would be to get him back playing wherever it may be. That is key, isn't it, for a young lad to try and go out and enjoy his football. Correct. Spot on. So just for your benefit then, where are you in your January window with what you're trying to attract and what you're trying to get in? We're trying to do a fair bit of business. We're hopeful on 1 or 2. Hopefully before the weekend. But then you never know. January's a tough window. And things, as we found out in the last summer window, even the players that you've signed might not end up playing. So until they're signed and sealed, and and playing, then I've got to remain cautious and optimistic at the same time, but extremely cautious that anything can happen in football, as you've just alluded with Owen. Nobody saw that coming, but you've got to be mindful of the fact that things can change quite quickly, and hopefully they'll change in our favour.
Well, you'll use all your contacts that you've got and all your people that you know in football, and you'll be making your own sort of list. When you look at that and assess everything, do you think there's some good acquisitions around that they can improve you can get them through the door?
Yes. The transfer windows are always an opportunity to improve, and that's what we've got to do. There's no getting around that fact. We've got to improve. It's a harder window to improve in, but that's the challenge, and we've got to do it, and we've got to do it quickly.
How would you assess this particular January transfer window to other transfer windows? Would you say, with the position that you're in the table, it's probably one of the hardest for you to just try and get it right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's the hardest. The hardest was when I first got in the job, and them 3 weeks were just mind blowing. And I'll say, we had, I think it was 160 phone calls on deadline day that first year. Coming back from Exeter, watching Exeter on the deadline day wasn't a good idea either. That was a really tough window, but because there's no planning. You come in on the 8th of January, first time manager, and that 3 weeks was just long days, long hours, trying to play catch up, seeing what was in place and what wasn't in place, trying to assess what was needed. That was really, really, really tough. That was by far the hardest of any window. I think the ramifications of this window is probably, I have to say, well, the ramifications of that first window was pretty severe. We were 17th or 19th in League Two, so you get that wrong, you're in trouble. But the same rings true for this window. We've got to make sure we have a good window. If we don't have a good window, then it'll be very, very difficult for us. If we have a good window, we're going to give ourselves a chance.
Well, you start with that chance to try and get yourselves going again with a home game against Charlton, followed up, of course, you won't look that far ahead, with another home game against Shrewsbury. 2 home games. If it can happen, 6 points can make it a lot better position for you.
Yeah, that's the goal. 3 wins, 4, 5, 6 wins in not many games, and you're definitely out of it. 3 wins, you give yourself more than a chance, and that's what we've got to do. We've got to string a few results together to get us out of the mire that we're in at the minute, and then maintain that. And if we do that, then we'll be fine. If we don't, then everyone can see what could happen.
You beat Charlton. You met them very early in the season, where they were straight out of the Championship into League One. Many people were expecting them to go back. It didn't work in the first half. Unfortunately, Nigel Adkins lost his job. Are you surprised that it's taken them that long, that they haven't been in that automatic promotion race straight away?
Well, obviously they've had the upheaval of a new manager, but then they've had the continuity of Johnny Jackson remaining at the club and becoming manager. So, if a new manager is not getting a tune out of the players for whatever reason, then that's obviously going to have an impact on league position and potential promotions and what have you. So, Johnny's now got them going, and they're a good team. There's no danger of that. They're a very good team with a very good squad. Like I say, they're a Championship team, so we know that this is going to be a real tough test for us. But they're coming to our place, and we've got to make sure that we play to our levels. And if we play to our levels, we'll give anyone a game. It's as simple as that.
If we could just get a thought of just looking a little bit ahead, Dave. Friday night, a big night for the youth team. They're going to Leicester City on a fantastic training complex, a brand new training complex. I think they're one of the highest ranked youth teams still in the competition. But what a good big night for your boys and their coaches.
Yeah, it's going to be a good night for everyone. I was speaking to someone who used to take Leicester's under-18s yesterday, who was telling me about 2 or 3 players that are good players. I've even had some recommended to our first team, so that's how good they are. And it's going to be a real tough test for them in fantastic surroundings. and I'm looking forward to it. So it's going to be a good night, and it's going to be a good challenge for them, and hopefully they'll rise to the challenge like they have done against all the other teams that they've faced this year.
Yeah, they've had some home games with the home crowd behind them. What do they gain experience for this type of game that they're going to come up against?
It's what you'd expect. It's a away tie. It's going into a different environment. It's assessing as quick as you can what the opposition is trying to do, which is standard stuff. It's all that. It's the travel. It's the coach journey. It's rather than coming in with your mum and dad or driving in on your own or whatever it might be. It's being together. So there's all that prolonged period that nervous energy might set in, or you're questioning things. So it's a different challenge for them with it being an away game, but one that they should look forward to. It's a real good game, real good challenge for them against one of the established Premier League teams. So I hope they do well, obviously, and I hope they really enjoy the night and win. There's no reason why they can't. They're a good group, and hopefully that'll play out.